Great, now it doesn't want to start. I now have a dash light. I will get this started for you guys as I've promised. Good news. Let me show you. So the mat has now been cut out. It may need a little bit of trimming. I think like little bits like this need to be rounded off. But I can do that once I've test fitted it to the scooter. I quite like the design of this one also. So yeah, I will lay this on here. Hopefully it fits well. Make some little alterations if needs be. And then get that dyed in the green. All trimmed up. Let's see if it fits. There you go, it fits. All the curves match to the panel well. And it goes all the way to the edge, not like before. So that'll work. So I'll get this dyed in the green. All done. So just test fitting the belly pan. And unfortunately with this edge here, a little bit more material has been taken away compared to the other side. But that's just, it is what it is. But yeah, as you can see, fits quite snug at the back, comes along the front. Can't really see because of the masking tape. But you can kind of get the idea that the line now follows the belly pan correctly from the front panel. Once I've got it fitting, I'm going to put a bolt in here, I think. I've decided to do that. Just because it's the easiest and neatest way to do it, to hold it in. I've ordered some more of those anodized bolts in green. So at least it'll look relatively pretty with the little green fixings instead of just stainless steel fittings. If you can have a look just in here, I've just put some masking tape and drew the lines of the gap. So when I take this off, I know the width. I just can't quite get a tape measure in there to get the exact measurement. I also need to trim a little bit more fiberglass away, just because it's slightly fouling the frame still. So I'll do that. But yeah, I'll take this off. I'll fiberglass this so it's one piece once again. I'll fit it up, get it exactly where I want it, and then I'll drill the holes and I'll riv nut this panel so I can just screw it straight into it. So since removing the carburetor and putting the 102 larger jet in, I've checked to make sure I've got fuel delivery to the carb, which I have. Without taking the panels off again, I can't really get to it to tinker with it and make sure that everything is absolutely perfect. But I can smell fuel. I haven't got any leaks. The tank is now reading fuel, but I'm killing the battery. So I'm going to have to get a little charge on it. There is a spare battery outside with some jump leads. I may have to just connect this up. Because on the electric start, it sounds like this. So yeah, the battery's dead. And I've tried kicking it and it just does nothing. Not even a little bit of hope. It just does not want to start. So yeah, I don't know. Bit of a pain because I had this started before I removed the carb. But I didn't want to run it for long previously because I didn't want to do damage to the head where it would have been running really hot. Hence why the larger jet. Plus the fact we're running the aftermarket filter. As far as I'm aware, you want to put a larger jet in it anyway because of that, because of the amount of air that it will be taking in. So you want to mix more air with more fuel, hence the larger main jet. But yeah, I'm just getting that and it's killing the battery. So yeah, I'll try again. I think what I'm gonna do actually, whilst I've got this off, I needed all these panels on to properly test fit this to mark all the holes. I will get this started for you guys as I've promised. I also want to hear it just as much as you. But I think what I'm going to do, I'll concentrate on this. I'll get this all trimmed up. I'll get it in place. I'll get it fiberglassed and I'll mark up all the holes. So I know that when I go to fit this, it will line up perfectly. Once I'm happy with that, I'm happy to then start removing all the panels again to double check this plug, which may need to be modified to see if the lights work. And I'm going to have to remove these rear panels to get to the carburetor, etc., to make sure that it's getting decent fuel feed, to make sure that there's nothing that looks a bit, I don't know, like it shouldn't be. And also I can get to it to make sure I can adjust the screw, etc. So, yeah, annoying, but let me crack on with this and then I'll get back to starting this. There you go. It's a little brace. Just use some hot glue, a little bit of aluminium. There's really not a lot of pressure of this wanting to come back in, so I wasn't worried about the strength of this. I know it'll be strong enough for what I need it for. I was going to put some rivets in here through the aluminium, but it would have been a bit more work to try and cover up the rivet heads. I'm not really a fan of that. I want to try and keep this as clean as possible, even though it will be right underneath the scooter. But that is going to be perfect for me to be able to fiberglass the inside. And once the fiberglass has gone off, it will be rock hard anyway, but this will still remain in place. So that's what I'll do now. I'll put some masking at the front here. I'll mix up some resin and I will get fiberglassing. Okay, so I just put some Vaseline on the masking tape, and I do that just so the resin doesn't stick too much to the masking tape. So when I peel off the masking tape, it won't try and stick to the fiberglass matting. There you go, it's a couple of layers of matting. I'm going to now leave that to dry overnight and I'll be back tomorrow. I will remove the tape, mix up some filler, just smooth over the front there, test fit it again to the scooter, make sure I'm happy, mark the holes, drill the holes, and then get that in paint. Okay then guys, it's the following day, and safe to say that the fiberglass has set absolutely solid, and I'll show you that in a second. But I've also managed to dye the little mat that I've made in green, so I'll also show you that. With the development of the engine trying to start, I made a bit of a mistake, and I'm actually hoping this is all that the issue is. So I spoke to one of the guys called Jack, really clued up on scooters, and I'm very lucky to have his advice. And he just so happened to mention about the carburetor insulator. I've now fitted it, but I'll post a picture here so you know what I'm on about. I completely forgot to fit it, and I only noticed this by looking back on one of my videos. So actually these videos have been very useful for me also. So yeah, I managed to find it. I've put it on. I am yet to secure all the fixings and put the carburetor back onto the manifold, but that bit is on. So at some point I will turn the bike over again once I've given the battery a little bit of a charge, and fingers crossed it will start and it will run. But for now, let me show you the belly pan and the little mat. So it's still drying. There is the mat in the green to match the seat. once again, is gone on so easy. I love this product. It's amazing. It really is. It does everything. And it goes on just like you would if you were spraying a panel with rattle cans. So yeah, really recommended, and plenty of choice of colour. So yeah, check these guys out if you're wanting to do the same. So I'll let that dry, and that will be all good. Very simple to fit. As you've seen previously, just throw it on, job done. The belly pan. Left this overnight, and just like the repair on the side panels, it has gone absolutely solid. There is definitely no chance of this coming away, and the brace is definitely securely in place. So all I need to do now is, and hopefully this Vaseline idea I showed you comes in, because this tape should peel away relatively simple, which it does. It doesn't bring any of the fiberglass with it. Perfect. So I will just trim this so it's a nice curve. Mix up some body filler. If you can just see, it's just the thickness of the fiberglass. Just fill in this void, smooth over. That is ready for paint, and this should go straight on, which I will test fit. But I'm happy with that. I think that's going to go on really easy now. So yeah, I'll trim this, fill it, test it on the bike, mark all the holes, stick it in paint, job done. And then I will remove this side panel so I can get to the carburetor, fit it all back correctly. This is currently the state, if I can get some light for you. So that's just the carb. And I don't know if you could pick up, but the adapter there for this carburetor onto the manifold, you can see the green gasket, and then behind that is a brown insulator, and that is what I forgot to fit. So Jack mentioned that I could possibly be losing air, so hopefully that fixes it, and then at least we can get this scooter started. And then with that done, I can test the lights. If they work, that would be incredible. If not, take the front panel off, and I'll do this little modification which I keep mentioning, and hopefully then that'll work, and then this thing is almost ready for the road. Almost forgot as well about my little subway handle which I purchased. That's now nice and secure. Another little detail dating back to the Japanese. I love these things. So I got one in the 86. Bought this. This is just a cheap one off eBay. It's not a genuine one. I do have a genuine one, but that is in the 86. I don't know what you guys think, but because there's a lot of white, do I paint this in the green? This green here, because I have ordered some more paint. So yeah, what are your guys' opinions? Be nice to know. There's the filler applied. Doesn't look that pretty, admittedly, but I can soon change that once I've sanded it. I've taken off the fiberglass to keep this shape, so this should definitely miss the frame. So yeah, got a bit of 400 grit. Just going to crack on and smooth this over. There you go then, guys. All nice and smooth. A couple of little bits I can fill in with some spot and filler. Test fit that. Get the holes drilled. Get it in primer. And it is all ready for paint. Okay, so a day has gone by and I've done a lot. Yeah. This escalated quickly, but I'll explain. So, as you're aware, this was all done, lovely and smooth, all nice and strong. Holes have now been drilled, both sides there, and also at the rear. The front panel I took off You can see the back end of the riv nuts which I've installed. They're the bolts I'll be using. Just there. Just about see the riv nuts. Now that damage there, that's just where we've been test fitting this. Done a little bit of fiberglassing because there is a couple of splits appearing and they do open up when you flex the panel. This was the side which had all the damage. So I thought whilst it's off, just do a proper job. So yeah, riv nuts were installed for the front of the belly pan, both sides. Also on the rear panels, you can see just there that I've also installed the riv nuts. So then you can secure the belly pan at the rear. So that's all good. This is what I was mentioning with regards of the insulator. So it's just this little brown thing here. I forgot to fit it and I need to take the panels off anyway. It's just easier to get to. I've just capped this off. I just spoke to a couple of the guys on the forum, on the Gensuki group. Wasn't sure if I was supposed to use it as a breather, but I think it's just an addition to this part here, which leads off the regulator, the fuel regulator. So I've just capped it off. So that's all good. An update with the lights. They now work, only just because the battery is very, very flat where I've been trying to start it. But let me show you. So if it will have enough power, I should at least get some dash lights, which I do. The rear light is now working. And I have a headlight. The only issue I find is that when I flip it to high beam, it turns off. And I can only imagine that's, well, I hope it's just because the battery's flat. If not, it might just be an iffy connection. But it works. Everything works and I'm really happy. So, yeah, at least that is one thing to not worry about. That's one thing ticked off. I just need to get this running. So, we're getting very, very close. I'll put some fuel in. And as far as I'm aware, if the battery has good charge, then it should start, hopefully. So this modification which I had to carry out, which I did mention a few times, this plug here, which is for the switch, the starter and headlight switch. Originally, this yellow wire here, because you've got a yellow with an orange stripe, and this one's just pure yellow. This yellow one was 2 gaps away originally, so it was just in here. And now you can see there are 4 gaps. That's all he told me to do, and that's what I've done, and it works a treat. I had a go on the original switch, which I now know is perfectly fine. But you can see there I've moved it across. So there are now 4 gaps in between. And luckily enough, years ago I bought some pin removers. Which are these things here. You've got all sorts of different types. And I used this one. And I just slid it down the side. And it allowed me to pull the pin out easily. So yeah, these are definitely worth having. So yeah, this one is a good spare. So if anyone is looking for one, just let me know, because that is no longer required, because I have the new one. So yeah, very happy, really glad that that works, because with electrics, as I might have mentioned before, I'm not that confident. So really, really happy with that. Let me get some power in the battery, and let's try and get this engine going. Right guys, so a couple of days have gone by and I have been manic trying to get this bike sorted. So, a few bits have gone well, some not so well. So let me show you. So we have the belly pan all done and in primer. This was left overnight. There's a couple of little imperfections just down here, which I use some spotting filler, so that's all ready for base. So that's almost done, which is great. Panels are still off, as you can see. So, the good. The lights. I now have a dash light, a tail light, the brakes work, the headlight now works, but the high beam didn't. But now it does. And all I did was change the bulb. So it was nice that I'm finally getting a little bit of luck. But I'm not having any luck with getting this engine started, and I cannot work it out. So I've checked for spark, I've got good spark, I've got fuel delivery, I've set the idle screws etc. to where I think they should be set. I'm using and trying to kick with the choke on and off, but it killed the battery. So last night I left it on my charger. I now have over 13 volts. So let me show you what I've been getting. So for the first turnover, it sounds hopeful. And then from that point on, I get nothing. So now I've got a fully charged battery. My luck may have changed, but let's have a look. That's all I've been getting. It's obviously been sat overnight, and as I said, the first turnover sounds the most hopeful, and it does that every time. So it's almost like it's had time for fuel to get into the bowl, but I know there's good fuel delivery, so yeah, I'm a little bit lost, to be fair. I'm going to keep tinkering, because I did say that I want to get this engine started for you guys, and I'm still really hoping that I can do that. Good news. Let me show you. So, the scooter is back together. I'm not going to show you it all, because that's going to be for a later video, and I'll do a walk around. But with regards to this, so this little blue pinch clip here, I'm just pinching the fuel line because I need to buy a fuel tap. We think what it was doing was where it was just sat and it was constantly just allowing fuel to be gravity fed into the carb, it was almost like flooding it. So what I've been advised to do by Alex is buy a fuel tap, and then when it's not in use, turn the fuel off, run the scooter for a little bit to drain the fuel out, and then next time I go to start it, whenever that'll be, turn the fuel tap on, and then that'll allow some nice fresh fuel into the carb, and it should start first time. So we've had this running about an hour ago, and as I said, it is pinched, but there should be enough fuel to allow me to start it to show you. So the choke is on. Ignition. Handbrake works, which is amazing. Managed to fix that. So hopefully this should start on the button. Amazing. So that's with the choke off. One very happy man. Such relief. So that's everything done. And in the next video, I'm going to show you a proper walk around of the complete scooter, and hopefully do a couple of little sort of drive-bys just to see, really hear the sound of the scooter, because it sounds amazing, and hopefully you guys get a good idea in that short clip. But Once again, thank you so much for following me in this journey. I've loved doing it. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. And if you have, please consider subscribing to the channel, because I would like to do more projects like this in the future. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.